Funding for these projects is very high. You need a lot of funding to be able to pay a GIS technician to do all this work. And invariably, most of these projects come from grants, and grants immediately go back to institutions that fund, and these institutions have a say in the way the field emerges. For example, data sharing. All this data is not yet published, but NSF and the other National Endowment for Humanities mandates that all data be available to people for public use. And so that, again, translates into a problem for historians, because historians are very possessive about their data, because their data often translates into monographs and books, which take a long time to publish, which is directly related to their tenure. So in effect, that example, what I'm trying to explain here is a communication regime not only is the social, but also the technology and the social coupled in a very tight network. And whatever happens at the technology side can have tertiary effects on the social side and vice versa. So what I'm trying to do is, from the past 2 years, I'm actually following these historians to be able to recognize all these implicit and explicit social norms, institutions, invisible and visible institutional practices that are shaping the way historical GIS field or subfield is emerging.
So I suggest that the future of media research could be found, it doesn't have to be, but I guess it's my dissertation, so I can say what I want to. Could be found in the nature-nurture debate. And mass communication has predominantly focused on an old paradigm, and this goes back to, there was a content analysis of a handful of journals done by Jennings, and I'm blanking on the other author. But they looked and they were curious of what theories were being used, and the theories that are most popular are the ones that were developed 30, 40 years ago still. And not to say that I'm not taking anything away from these, let me make that very clear, but that a lot of these are learning-based theories. I got this right here. And so they're focused almost entirely on how we go about learning, and none of them really focus on what our biological makeup brings to the table.
So Matt, just to elaborate a little bit, why is that an issue, or why is that an old way of thinking?
I don't want to say, old way isn't the right way. It just ended up being the first way. I don't want to suggest that it's outdated or that it's not even applicable now. It's just that the research has seemed to focus on learning, and it should still focus on learning. It should just focus on nature as well.